The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Tell Us Why, a podcast for the financial freedom community. If you're looking to succeed in your quest for financial freedom, make sure you join us every week as we, along with our guests, discuss different stories of success, how they were achieved, and how you can do the same. And of course, we ask them to tell us why. Here are your hosts, Jack and Mike.
Welcome to the Tell Us Why podcast. I am your host, Jack Darrenpool, here alongside my co-host, Mr. Michael Ketchen. Today we'll be talking with Josh Munoz, the founder of Grow Now Digital, an expert at paid advertising, conscious creative coach, and an obsessive entrepreneur. But before we bring Josh in studio, I don't even know if I want to get into this. You want to skip this?
We got to do it.
I think we're going to skip it. Oh, man. Speaking on Josh's note, his mojo's way off today. But all right, what do you got? What's going on in the business?
So usually it's positive. And we did close on a new deal this week, 7 units. But we are getting historic rainfall for July. And I woke up in the last 3 days to, 3 flooded roofs, 2 units flooded and displaced tenants, and about $100,000 worth of property damage.
It's not all roses and sunshine, I thought
No,
it was.
you know what? It turns out it's not.
Oh,
so,
man.
But if it was easy, everyone would do it. What do you got going on?
So to kind of give you the middle finger, last week while I was gone, I was on vacation last week. I showed 20 different apartments, got 2 of them filled, sent out my quarterly reporting to all my investors, and I was on vacation. My team did that.
Oh.
So I'm living stress-free right now.
I like that.
Yeah, a little delegation.
Yeah, that little 12% spread. You got to love it. Right. So I know you gave him a quick overview, and I know we're going to get to it. And honestly, we have a tremendous guest today. One of my favorite people, just power of positivity. We're going to get into it. He's going to rival Patrick from a couple of weeks ago. I think the two of them got together, the world would explode. But before we do that, why don't we hear who today's episode is brought to you by?
Are you sick of being treated like just another number by large insurance companies? Do you want a more personalized experience with somebody that you can trust? With Keith Monty from Boynton's Insurance, that's exactly what you'll get. Keith is an experienced professional who can design an insurance plan tailored to fit your specific needs. With access to over 30 insurance carriers, Keith is able to shop numerous markets to find a price that works for you. So if you want an insurance agent that you can rely on and one that has your best interest at heart, then call or text Keith today on 978-241-2363. That's 978-241-2363. Keith Monty. He'll get you covered.
All right, so Josh is a growth mentor, has over 5 years experience in the industry, perfecting the latest in digital strategies and techniques. With a priority of helping his clients reach both their short and long-term business goals, he applies all his experience to make this happen. He is an avid learner and reader who believes in constant personal growth. The foundation and guiding principles of his success comes from being a third-degree black belt, and instructor in karate for over 5 years.
Love it. Josh, thanks for being here.
Welcome to the Tell Us Why podcast.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited. Knowing Mike for the past few years has been exciting too. So
you're going to admit to that right off the bat?
Yeah, we're going straight to it. We're started. Knowing Mike is just great. It's great to see kind of when I first met Mike when it comes to just like overall life, and now he's just head is 100% into the entrepreneurship world and the business world, which is like it's so cool to see because that's kind of like my passion. So it's cool to see other people kind of make that shift from kind of not being in charge of your pay and what you do to now like you're in full control, which it could be a good thing or bad thing. It really exposes you.
Yep. And if we're going to fanboy real quick, as I decided to give it to Josh early on, I've known Josh for a long time. We grew up in similar circles. And one thing that really stands out to me, and I want to tell the listeners this right away, one of the reasons we were so excited to have you on is you were into this long, this is hip and this is cool now, being an influencer and YouTube and TikTok, and we're really kind of seeing the power of it. You were the first person that I know personally where you were at the front of this. You've been talking about this to me, it feels like 5, 6, 7 years at this point. I don't want to date you. But, I mean, we'll get into the story, I'm sure. But, I mean, you literally moved across the country. You are literally the definition of bet on yourself. And we talk about this in the community. So this is a real treat to have you here with us today. And before we get into some of the backstory, we always like to ask, why don't you tell the people listening, where you at in your business today? What do you got going on? And let's touch on that first.
Yeah. So, that's exactly it. I started my marketing agency 5 years ago because I saw where everything was going. Mm-hmm. So I took full advantage of getting into the marketing industry. And now the past 4 years, I had a company called Grow Now Social Media Agency, where we were focused really on organic social and some paid ads. During COVID, I lost $100,000 worth of clients over a year worth overnight.
Wow.
So so that kind of humbles you, right? So once we did that, we were working with a lot of brick and mortar businesses. And then me and my business partner, now we reformed the company to Grow Now Digital. And all we do now is we focus on the paid advertisement. So we just specialize on adding fuel to your fire. So because of that, we work with higher level people. It allows us to work with 7-figure, 8-figure earners online that have online products that kick ass, that have a huge brand, because we got really specialized on that one thing. So me and my business partner have been doing, multiple 6 figures for the past few years. But what the coolest part was last year is my business partner is a systems ninja, and I'm obviously like the customer relationship person in sales. We're able to scale, we're right now up to date, like 125% increase from last year.
Wow.
And we work less.
That is the most important part.
I didn't care what the money is, the working less. So last 6 months of last year, we didn't really work Tuesdays and Fridays. So it was really cool. It allowed me to get into like coaching, things that I love to do. And that was kind of our mission, is like, how can we have a cash cow machine that's generating us cash flow where we can still work certain days of the week, and we love to do it, so we really got specific with this. So, I've been doing that for the past, year. Me and him will Grow Now Digital specifically. And then when it comes to my personal stuff, I've been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, because now, just by pure experience, I've been doing a lot of coaching on just helping people create the life they want to live, because like you said, I did move across country. I did create my business, but all of that was super conscious. It was specific. I was aware that I'm doing this for a reason. I was aware I'm moving here because I realized I don't really like the cold, So that's kind of a quick snapshot of me in business and kind of where we're at now. And now we're at a point where me and my business partner are going to be launching some digital products, some online courses, because we worked with the top coaches the past year. So we see really what's lacking, what things they can improve on. So we're going to have some cool digital courses that we're going to be able to help, business owners really crush it online.
So, we have a lot of stuff. You just gave a lot of good actionable tips there, a lot about where you're at. And one thing we really preach, as you know, you've met a member from day one, you behind the scenes with the Tell Us Why financial freedom community. The thing we're building here across all platforms, from real estate investing to social media brand to restaurant startups to all types of entrepreneurs, is lifestyle design and really defining that.
It's my first note right here.
There, you got your note.
Circle it.
Yeah, my question around that was, I think a lot of times when people hear, and this is a cool thing you guys do, social media, it's got to be, young or hip or a startup or risky. You just said something to me that you're dealing with higher end clients, continuing to increase the brand and really leverage the digital presence. So in your experience, does that apply to all businesses, all industries? Can everyone get better at that?
Oh, 100%. Because here's the reason why. Because we focus on paid ads, the number one thing I recommend is to take advantage of social media, because it's free. Think about it. There's never been a time in marketing that marketing was actually free to do. All you have to do is post on it. For example, when I was running the dojo, I would do the old school way of marketing. I would go outside to the parking lot and I would see kids or parents and I hand them cards. Right? That took sweat equity, right? That took me going outside, and I was sweating like summertime with the Karate Gi stores. And I'll do fairs, I'll do events, I'll go to school programs. And then all I have to do now as a business owner is not do that. All I have to do is come up with the post and post on social media, and it can be posted on all platforms. Like, it's free marketing. So like, people always ask us, hey Josh, can we do paid advertisement? And I go, Yes. Let's see what you post. Oh, no, I haven't really posted anything. Well, we should start there because it's free. It's like, it's sometimes so simple that it's overlooked. It's like, do you want to take advantage of free traffic and free organic, you get customers through organically? Like, there's never been a time to do that. So that's why I was always a big believer, because I was able to build, even the karate school, I was able to build my adult kickboxing class through just Facebook.
Wow.
I would just tag my clients on Facebook, and I would tag them, and all their friends would see it on Facebook and be like, oh, I didn't know there's kickboxing in Plastow, New Hampshire. And I was like, hell yeah, my dojo, right? So that really opened my eyes. But yeah, if you're a business owner or if you're doing any type of business, definitely double down on social media because it helps. The only thing is, it's just like, it's kind of like a lot of the kind of the daily like habits I do. It's like, people start it and they expect a result right away, but it doesn't happen. It's a compound habit, right? So I call it compound habits. Like for me, doing vision boards and writing my goals down was a compound habit until I realized, damn, I have right now what I wrote 3 years ago.
Wow. And we talk about that. I mean, you're big on that. Why don't you talk about the consistency with the systems you were alluding to?
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree. Like, just with the Tell Us Why stuff, I mean, when we first started, we weren't as big as we thought we were going to be.
Yep.
I mean, we were as big as we thought we were going to be. We were starting at zero. But I mean, consistent daily efforts and putting in this effort on a daily basis, and then realizing, reassessing, and going above and beyond what we thought what I don't know, what I expected, I guess, allows. I mean, now we're starting to see that growth kind of take off, and Josh has been a big part of that too, since he was there in the beginning.
And that grind, to your point exactly, Josh. One thing that you kind of grounded us, because actually, I mean, we're believers. We're up here. One of the reasons we had Josh on, we actually hired Josh for his coaching program, and we came away blown away. Can't recommend it enough from a startup. And one thing you said up front that I thought was so powerful and so important was consistency is key. And it was kind of telling, because we always talk about those themes that cross over. It's the same thing when I was in education. It's the same thing with my real estate investing. It's the same thing with business. Here we are again learning this new thing. And me and Jack were geeking out because we finally had an IG Live go like over 400 views. But it is that funny. It's that reward of just being consistent daily. And it's just those same themes. So that's kind of a perfect segue, which we'd love to talk about, is we know where you're at. We know we know where you're coming from. We know where you're at. What is an actionable step that you're seeing out there that anybody can start with, or a piece of advice you would give to a young entrepreneur starting out today?
For social media or just in general?
Just general.
General consistency is everything, right? It's consistency. It really. So there's two things, right? It's your consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential.
That should be a T-shirt.
Yes.
That is good. Consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. I like it.
Yes, it's the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And the reason why it's consistent, because number one, anything that's worthwhile is worth doing over and over again, right? It's never, this in business, it's never the big wins, right? It was this one big action I took, and then my life was simple. Hell no. Like, everything great. Relationships, our bodies, like, I mean, the devil's in the details, right? So we can really specifically see what's really going on in every area of my life. It's the consistency that works. And then the second part is the persistence, right? Because part of consistency is you're going to realize you have to be persistent in what you want, because being motivated doesn't last. It's the discipline that helps you kind of bridge the gap from where you're at to where you want to be. So if you're an entrepreneur starting out right now, my biggest thing is, it's not that I'm writing in my journal today, is that I started writing my journal 9 years ago. It's like, it's not because I'm reading personal development books today and hiring mentors today. It's because I've been doing this for the past decade, right? And that goes along with social media. It's like, yeah, I have a good following and good clientele and a good brand. It's because I've been posting every day since 2016. And I had no idea how big it was. It's like, I'm getting to market, I got to figure it out. So if there's anything you could do something every single day. And that's literally the key. And it doesn't even matter if it's 10 minutes or 1 minute. You really want to test how much you're in your own way. Try to pick one habit and do it every day for 30 days.
Wow, that's a great tip. Go back and listen to that five times.
That's fire. Like, that's absolutely 100% accurate. And it's like, just going back to like the real estate business that I started. Like, it wasn't like it happened overnight. Like, I worked for years, like grinding, just reading every single book that I could, browsing forums, doing research all day because I wasn't working. At my job. I was at my job, not working. Like browsing, like I had to have spent tens of thousands of hours over, what, a 5-year period?
Yep.
To get to that point. And it was just, again, that daily consistent effort. And like everything, like you alluded to, like being in shape. I'm not in shape. It's something that I would like, but I'm not putting in the consistent daily effort until recently. But I'm not going to go there right now. But I mean, like, it's the little steps, the things that you do every single day. Like, now that I have time, like, I'm going on bike rides every single day. I'm going for walks every single day. And
yeah,
we're going to see results.
I like it.
I'm making it official. I'm making it social media official, podcast official.
Yeah, and that's why I see that's the first step too, right? If you're starting out as an entrepreneur, like everything I said, I told all my friends next to me. Like I would be upset. Like you knew what I was doing because I was obsessed with this. I was like, I'm gonna build this. I'm gonna be making this. I'm gonna be driving this car. And some people are like, oh, why are you doing? I get obsessed about my vision and what I want accomplished because that's going to help you stay accountable. Like right now, I'm doing a challenge called 75 Hard.
Yep.
And that's by Andy Frisella.
Yep.
And it's for me, it's my biggest challenge to myself because of the food. I'm a very big emotional eater, and obviously being Dominican and my family, like I was so addicted to carbs. I was addicted to food. Like when I'm not having a good day, I would just eat bad, right? But then everything else in my life is great, but I would just eat bad. So like this 75-day challenge, I did 40 days, but then I read his book and I realized how much dialed in it has to be to really be official.
Yep.
And I just restarted it yesterday. So today's my day 2 or 3, day 2. Yeah. So I'm going 75 days with just following this regimen.
We've talked about that before.
Oh yeah.
And now you realize how much like every area of my life is going to improve because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I think finding, like you said, is like finding challenges that you've been doing for years, right? Like I hired a speaking coach 2017, spent $5,000 with a speaking coach, and I'm just using what he's taught me now.
Yep. It's that delayed, it really is that delayed gratification.
Delaying gratification, absolutely.
And not the incident. And Josh, the thing that I want to go back that I'm always emphasizing, because we have a lot of younger listeners, fresh out of high school, transitioning in college, looking at career development. We ask that, the dreaded hot 3 questions are coming at the end, as everyone knows, the big 3. But everything you just said, actionable, obtainable, massive amounts of action, the price to do it is free. That's the part that I want to take away. The opportunity that we have, and we talk about this all the time. It's one of the reasons I'm so optimistic about the future and why I don't think people realize the true opportunity we have right now today. Turn off the news, turn off the negativity. There is so much available to you for free that your action is directly tied to your results, right? And that's a great, great way. And everything Josh just shared, it's your time you're leveraging to tap into these resources to really start to get those returns. And I know you had something you wanted to jump in with.
No, because that's I want to give you a perfect example because majority of my training, my mentors were free on YouTube University, right? Like
What's the
Les
tuition?
Brown. I would listen to Les Brown every day in my room. Like, yes, my brother, my sister, my mom, like every day in my room yelling, like, I'm like walking around, I'm like, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it, right? And I'm like, it's free content, but it was just the drive and the passion of me wanting to achieve is that's the difference. It's going to be your willpower and to hit back that free concept that you're saying. It's funny. I have this funny example. There's a seminar called Millionaire Mind Intensive, and it was a free seminar. And I spent all weekend at the seminar while my family and friends were doing what the fuck they wanted, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm going out here, I'm going to invest in myself. And I spent this weekend learning from this guy on how to set up my financial blueprint and how to set up my financial kind of roadmap. After that free event, I made $800 from that event because I charged 8 people I know, including my brother and my sister and my mom, $100 each to set up their finances. Because I said, I spent my weekend doing that free event while you guys were chilling doing nothing. I believe my time is worth value, and I'll set up your bank accounts. I set up how you should do your percentages and what buckets you should put in if you pay me $100. And they all did. My brother did, my sister did, my mom did, and I had 3 other friends that did as well too. And I made that money. I went to that event and made $800 from it, and it was a free event.
I love it. I love it.
That
it's
awesome.
like that's the kind of drive you gotta have. Like you said, it's the game is sold free.
Well, did you have something you want to jump in with?
Yeah. So I know you mentioned the obsessive personality, and I myself think that I have an obsessive personality, like real estate. Like once I realized that was it, that was it for me. Like it was nonstop. So it's basically a question of both of you. Do you think you need an obsessive personality? Is it an asset? Obsessive? Well, I'm asking you. Do you have an obsessive personality? Like, I think it's an asset. Do you think it's an asset? Do you think it's a liability? And do you think it's necessary to, I don't know, achieve financial freedom? So if someone does not have an obsessive personality, do you think they can still achieve financial freedom?
Well, here's the thing, right? Because I agree with that. I agree with you because you do have to be obsessive about what you want, because whatever you think about majority of the time is what you get, right? So it's like we're all consciously creating our lives, but majority are zombies, right? Majority of people are, zombie shows, the people who watch zombie shows are the zombies, right? It's like, you guys are from the screen, like I haven't had a TV in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Chris
care
is
about
offended.
TV. I don't watch, like, I don't do none of that. I don't watch none of that mainstream shit.
Yeah.
So the thing is, because of that, we have 50,000 thoughts in our head daily. And whatever you think about majority of the time is what we attract, right? I spent the past year living in Sedona, Arizona. So I sold my BMW and I just went up to Sedona and just figured it out. Cause I was like, you know what? I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to let go of things that hold me back to really feel like who am I really? And is it really helping me attract what I want to have? And what is it I really want to live? You know, like, how do I really want to live? And doing this lot of deep thinking in Sedona this past year, it really had me realize that our mind is so powerful. So when you say obsessive, it's just, because majority of your thoughts are thinking about real estate and how much you can accomplish. Yes, I agree. If we should all be thinking about what we want to accomplish, because if not, what else are we going to think about? Our mind's going to think about negative if we don't think about positive, right? So I think it's important for us to realize that everything that, if we want to bring in something into reality, it starts in the mind first.
I think, to answer your question, I think anyone who knows me, and I think you both for being polite, wherever obsessive is, I'm well past that line. Yes, I'm sure you both have plenty of stories. Real quick aside, I remember a conversation we had a while ago, because believe it or not, I don't write down my goals. And I said to Jack one time, like, man, maybe I should write them down. And he said to me, it's a year and a half ago, he goes, write them down. Because you think about your goals more than any person I know. I mean, I don't turn it off. And what you just said really resonated with me, because I go back to a quote, I believe it was Michael Jordan when he said it, where there are millions of people on this planet who have the physical talent to play in the NBA. There are very few who have the mental talent to play in the NBA. And that's what separates. And so is it obsessive? I think so. I mean, I also say another theme you'll see, all three of us, most people we've had on the show, in some ways I actually think we're all lazy. And to clarify by that, lazy has a negative connotation. I try to surround myself with lazy people, believe it or not, because lazy people often are the best problem solvers. So you just want them to be lazy about offloading the work with systems and productivity. And I say it all the time. I'm always trying to start with the end in mind, because I want to be able to walk away from it, and I want to be able to enjoy my cigars and my scotch, and I want to be left alone. So that's kind of how we look at everything. And Josh, you had a thought. That's what I was going to ask earlier, and it actually applies to all three of us. And it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's the other side of the coin. And I think your story ties into this perfectly. As you were doing this thing, as you're embarking on your journey, you're bucking conventional wisdom, you're not going to college, you're walking away from a pretty big local martial arts school you were pretty tied in with. You're going out there. Talk about how your relationships are affected, because there are some days, and I'm sure you both deal with this as entrepreneurs, there are lonely days as well too. There are days where it's hard to basically feel like you're fighting it at all fronts. And when that instant success doesn't come right away, a lot of the people that you think are in your corner a lot of times are the first ones waiting to see you fail. And your positive mindset and your positivity, it just resonates. And it hasn't always been rainbows and butterflies. I'm so glad you're there now. You deserve the work. But when you're first starting out, how do you overcome that? How can someone get started, deal with, I'm ready to make those shifts, but even if my circle is not ready to make those shifts with me?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think that's something that people always overlook. I think we have to realize the reality is you're going to feel lonely, right? Because look at the opposite. People always, one of my mentors, he makes $200K a month. And I was like, you're my mentor. And he's a really cool mentor of mine. I used to work with them in network marketing. And he's always saying, he goes, Josh, whatever the crowd is doing, do the opposite. Right. So we already know the majority of people are going to school and going to education, getting this corporate job, which is part of it. I had to go through that. I went through that for a small period of time. And And one of the things is that because you're going to be doing the opposite and going your own path, it is going to be lonely. You know what? It's lonely for all of us because we're all in our own paths. Like we all have such unique abilities that it's going to obviously feel lonely because you're the only one that knows the dreams and desires in your body, right? It's a feeling process, right? So you're going to be lonely. Like I remember so many times that for me, I was so butthurt and so like kind of like you know, like that beaten child because I would tell my family was my closest. Like I'm doing it for you, motherfuckers, right? I'm doing it for you guys.
I'm right there with you.
Like this is like this the crazy shit I'm doing is for you guys. Like you know, like my brother used to make fun of me, like, "Oh, you went to Tony Robbins, you're not a millionaire yet." And my mom's like, "Hey, what's up? You went to this event and you're not a millionaire?" Because I was like, "Mom, I'm gonna go to this event and be a millionaire. Like, I'm gonna figure this shit out, right?" Yep. So you're gonna feel lonely. It's part of the process. I always tell people, if you're not feeling lonely, you're not feeling separated from the crowd, you're not doing enough to separate yourself because you're with everyone else. You look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Michael Jordan. Those were the only motherfuckers in the gym shooting basketball, only ones doing things. And they were by themselves. Even Giannis had a video I saw earlier today. He won the Bucks won yesterday, and he had a video. And he goes, "With camera there in practice." He goes, "Look around. No one's around me. They don't like me." He goes, "Sometimes in this journey, you go feel lonely, but it's about what you get."
Yep.
You know. So like, there's been times. Honestly, there's been times in my room that I felt so lonely. Like I was crying because I wanted it so bad. Like. There was this one Big Sean video that I saw on YouTube. Big Sean put out these like motivational videos. I highly recommend you check it out. You type in Big Sean patience under YouTube. And I literally watched that video and I was just crying because he was talking about patience. And it was that point where I was like, I can either give up or go to the conform to the life that the society and my family and friends are telling me to go because they're making more money and they're more secured. Yeah. Right? Like, fuck that shit, right? I'm not here for fucking security.
It's like I said,
I go to jail.
Yeah. They'll subscribe to Netflix, they'll subscribe to Amazon, but will they subscribe to you? And it's funny when you go to your circle how they don't look at it that way. But you know what? That's why the hashtag is bet on yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are alone responsible for that, which I think that's a perfect transition to Addicted to Problem Solving, the segment where we take a listener's question, and I believe Jack has an excellent one ready to rock and roll.
This one is from Richard McGinnis.
Getting some swag for Richard?
Absolutely.
Some dry fits coming. Tell us why dry fits.
Is he getting a dry fit?
We should give him a dry fit.
Oh, man, one of the new dry fits he's getting. All right. His question is, when using social media for a service-based company, is it better to market the company or a specific service you offer?
Ooh, good question. I think neither. All right. And let me tell you why, right? I think it's hard, right? Because people get too stuck on the service that they offer, and also they get too stuck on their company. No one gives a crap about either, right? What people care about are you likable and credible, right? So what I think is everyone's unique selling point is what makes their brand unique compared to everyone else, right? So if I'm a realtor, what makes me more unique? It's usually themselves, their personality, what they like, what other people like, because then you find other people who resonate with you. So I think it's getting clear on what separates you from every other person in your industry and then highlight that, right? And I think highlighting more personality in brands is the big, like personality brands get 4 times more engagement on social media than anything else. So like, for example, I'll post something on my business page, 10 likes. I'll post something on my personal page, 300, 400 likes, right? So it's like people want to do business with people. So I would get out of the mindset of thinking about has to be about company or about what makes you different and how do you help solve people's problems, and then talk about how you help solve people's problems differently than everyone else. And I think that should be the biggest focus when you're building your company. If you're like at Tesla right now, do you care what Tesla posts on Instagram? Like no one cares what Tesla posts on Instagram. They just care what Elon Musk does.
And then he tweets and the company goes up and down. The product doesn't change. My man, great answer. Great answer. All right.
I like it a lot. All right, so time to move on to the big 3.
He's going on the hot seat. Here we
go.
go.
The big 3. These are the 3 questions we ask every guest every week, and we're going to start with a college question. So in your opinion, is college worth it?
No, and the reason why is because I like to calculate the more mentors I hire, I'm paying more mentors to help them remind me to keep things simple. So it's basic math, right? So I personally didn't go to college, right? I did 1 semester and it wasn't for me. I chose the karate school because I read a few books, and in these few books, I learned more about finances than I ever in my life, right? No, my dad wasn't teaching me, my mom, the schools weren't teaching me. So I think college is a complete waste of time. If you have family money and your parents are in college, I'll still take that money and reinvest it into actually specialized knowledge, something that you can get specific on, or if not, travel. You gain more experience about life and wisdom of traveling. I think you should hire more specific mentors instead of school and college. You go into debt, and then you try to get a job that you can barely pay the debt in a time in your life where you're trying to build and create. You're trying to create a family, you're trying to build a house. So like, I totally think it just doesn't make sense of math if you invest this much. And how much are you getting at the end? It's like a simple business question. What's your ROI of college?
And with that said, though, I'm going to go a little off topic because I want to ask your opinion on this because it just hit me. We should ask, in your opinion, is coaching worth it?
Yes. So here's the difference, right? So I'm actually publishing a book this year about mentors because that's literally been my journey, right? You know me, Mike, a kid from Haverhill, the fuck, like I was average growing up. I was like in high school, I was the okay player. I wasn't a star player. I was sick of tired of being average. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why am I holding on to this average image of who I am? Like, so what I did is I started hiring coaches. I had a physical fitness coach, Devon, who's kinesthetic. I hired him to do my fitness, which I lost 40 pounds in 3 months,
Me and Jack need Devon.
Seriously, he has some cool apps, online program. Yeah. But the second thing is I hired a spiritual mentor, right? I hired a mentor where we got a chance to talk about topics that I never talked about, like my inner child and trauma, things about like how I took like my relationship with my parents and when they divorced, and how I felt with my older brother and my older sister, and how I felt about myself. Like no one ever talks about that. So like I hired a spiritual coach, I hired a speaking coach, I hired a business coach, and I'm still hiring these coaches. Like me and my business partner just invested in one of our mentors for Facebook ads, and their company was rated top Facebook ad agency in the US for 8 years in a row, and they work with all these top coaches. Like I'm a big believer is model success. Find who has got what you have, and then learn from them. And it could be free. It could be you. I started off with YouTube. Yep. I would go on there. I would walk around my house like I'm Jim Rohn, like I'm Les Brown, and a lot of these people are passed away, right? Like Jim Rohn's not here no more, but his videos stay with me forever. And I think coaching is something you should definitely invest in. I think we invest too much in Netflix and TV and super shit. Like I see motherfuckers with designer shit, and I'm like, I know how much money you make, and I'm over here fucking wearing my $15 chancletas from Marshalls, and it's like that's the difference. You're investing in the wrong thing. I'm a long-term thinker. Like I already know, because I know I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna be there. I make the right decisions to. It's just low key. I think sometimes people don't believe they can do it, so they sabotage themselves by investing in shit that doesn't really matter.
Great, unbelievable 1,000%. Answer. Unbelievable answer. Well, now we're back to the big three. Yeah. So, with that said, what is one piece of actionable advice you go back and give to your 18-year-old self?
That one advice would be, to let myself know that I'm the one who's guiding the ship of my life.
Yeah,
I like that.
So we never been taught. We've only been taught blame, even being guilty on the opposite side of blame, right? And it's like I used to get so frustrated, like, yo, this shit is not how I want it. I put myself there, right? It's like, well, I'm at this job that I don't feel good, and intuitively it doesn't feel right to me. But I'm the one. Whether either I'm allowing it or creating it, either way, I'm just as guilty, right? So if I could go tell my 18-year-old self, I'll tell him, you know what? You are actually creating your exact life. So if you're not happy in your fitness, in your health, you're creating that. You have bad habits in health. If you're not happy in your relationships, well, how many relationships books have you read in the past year? It's so simple. So I think for me, my 18-year-old self, I'll tell myself like, hey, take more responsibility of your life. Like now I take so much responsibility in my fucking life right now that every experience that happens to me, even if it's off a little bit, I still take responsibility, because I ask myself two questions. I go, A, what did I do to attract this situation in my head mentally to attract the situation? And then B, what is the universe trying to teach me from this experience? And that's why for me, I'm not necessarily positive, is I have ability to be conscious and not react like an animal. And when something happens, I stop and ask myself these two questions. So if I could go back to my 18-year-old self, I would tell him, hey, go back, make sure you stop, think about why is this happening and why did I attract this? Because ideally, you are the one who is in control of your life. So.
Absolutely.
Just raising the bar out here. This is a great episode. Hit him with the last one. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, I want to go home.
So many gems.
Tell my son that one. Like, hey, bud, you got to listen to this one. But so on the other end of the spectrum, what is one thing you would want your 90-year-old self to say to you?
My 90-year-old self is going to say to myself, because I already know this is going to happen, is to let go of the idea and the concept of what you thought life is and lean more into the feeling you have, because we can never take anything with us and we don't know when our day ends. Like, I don't fucking know. We don't know. We're not in charge of when we're born and we're not in charge of when we go. So the time in between is meant for us. Well, I feel like my definition of life purpose is meant for us to how much joyful and dope well-being experiences can we have in this time period that we have? Because if not, it's going to be gone. And then we're going to be like, oh, I wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Right. So I actually read articles about what 90-year-olds say to themselves. And one of them is to not be so hard on themselves. Right. And the second one is to not going for what they actually really wanted to do deep down. So if you have any dreams, any goals, like I did an exercise, and I did exercise with one of my coaches in California, and we sat on the beach, and he goes, all right, guys, just let you know, he put us in the mind frame that we just have 30 minutes to live life, and then it expires, and then we're gone. And he goes, you can't talk to nobody in the beach. You can't do anything. You're going to walk around and sit. Yo, and I was just crying. Like, I was literally just crying because I was like, yo, you know what? Like, damn, like, I'm just happy that I started being motivated and positive. I'm happy I was able to motivate the people around me. Yo, I'm happy that, my family got a chance to see, like, Josh is going after his dreams no matter what. Like, I think people think they're tough until you really face death and play yourself fully in it. And because I faced it, that point to myself and just let it go, I realized how precious life is and how much of a gift it really is. That's why it's called the present moment. And that's why everything I do in my lifestyle design is based off how can I be more present in my day. I take naps more often. I'm like a kid now. I work less. I play more. But that if I could just tell everybody is like that's my mission in life, is to help teach people that they're conscious of their lives. So start creating your life to be more happy, more joyful, and let everything else go, because everything else is just a distraction.
That is awesome. Awesome. So Josh, before we let you get out of here, where can people connect with you, learn a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so definitely recommend going on my Instagram, because I'm super active on Instagram and my Facebook and my LinkedIn. But Joshua Munoz with 3 Z's. Is my Instagram. Please follow me on my Instagram. I post a lot of stuff on my story, and you can kind of see my day-to-day grind, because I always tell people, it's like I don't change people's lives because I talk about it. I change people's lives because I am it, right? If you hang around with me for a week, your life is different because of my expectation and my standard for myself kind of seeps around. So Instagram will be the best place. Always, you can always contact me at grownowdigital.com as well too, for anything marketing. And if you reach out to anyone there, it'll be myself.
Awesome, right. Josh. Unbelievable episode.
Yeah, Josh, thanks for coming. So if you don't already follow us on social media, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, basically everything there is. All the links are in the description below, along with Josh's. If you're new and just listening for the first time, make sure you head over and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Or Spotify, iTunes, anywhere else you hear podcasts.
True that.
And if you even want, you're in the new area of New Hampshire, come on up to Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. We record every Wednesday, and we'd love to have you in studio. Josh, hopefully you'll check in with the Facebook community. Keep us updated on your 75 Hard Challenge. And we'll be back next week with another great episode, I believe.
Absolutely.
And anything else to get out of here?
Wrap it up with the quote of the week. This week's quote is by Albus Dumbledore. Dumbledore? What is
Harry Potter fans. Come on.
Yeah, right. It is our choices that show who we truly are, far more than our abilities. So that's it for today. Be sure to join us for next week's episode. And until next week,
bet on yourself.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.